The death of Yu Menglong was supposed to be nothing more than a tragedy. At least, that is how it was first framed, an accident in the night. A fall from his Chaoyuan district apartment in Beijing. An unfortunate end to a promising young life. Fans mourned, families grieved, and the entertainment industry rushed to release statements of sorrow. Beneath the surface of tears, whispers began to rise. When the shock quieted, people asked the one question that no one could ignore: who benefited after Yu Menglong's death? In the weeks that followed his passing, contracts worth millions of yuan were reshuffled. Luxury fashion brands that once had Yu's face on billboards scrambled to find replacements. Beverage companies quietly announced new ambassadors. 2 drama projects, in which Yu was scheduled to play lead roles, issued statements about necessary casting changes, and within days, new names were revealed to fill the void. Every time Yu's name disappeared from a contract or a poster, someone else's name appeared in bold. The pattern was impossible to ignore. Where there is loss, there is gain. Where one star falls, another rises. The grief of fans was matched only by the speed at which business wheels kept turning. And that was when suspicion grew louder. Had Yu Menglong's death simply been fate? Or had it been engineered to clear the way for others? At first, these questions lived only online, whispered in chatrooms and splashed across anonymous posts on Weibo. Tags like "Who Profits" began to trend, accompanied by lists of actors and companies that had suddenly flourished in the vacuum left by Yu. But then came a revelation that transformed rumor into scandal. Chinese police announced they had identified a high-level suspect in the case. A man described not as a mere rival actor or jealous colleague, but as a mastermind with connections, power, and motive. The words dropped like a bomb. In one press conference, the narrative shifted from accident to homicide, from speculation to investigation. In the streets of Beijing, the name that surged through the crowd was whispered with both fear and fury: Liang Wenhao. Liang was no ordinary figure. For years, he had moved like a shadow through China's entertainment industry. A producer and business magnate whose reach extended from television dramas to high-profile endorsements. His name appeared rarely in front-page headlines. But behind closed doors, insiders knew that if you wanted a role, a contract, or a chance at stardom, chances were that Liang Wenhao's influence hovered nearby. He was the kind of man who didn't just manage careers, he controlled destinies. And it was Liang, according to whispers leaked from the Chaoyuan police unit, who had profited most directly after Yu's death. One of the largest contracts Yu Menglong had recently withdrawn from, a 100 million yuan luxury fashion deal, landed swiftly in the lap of an actor represented by Liang's agency. Another major beverage endorsement, once plastered with Yu's image, was reassigned to a face from Liang's talent roster. Even a leading role in a historical drama, for which Yu had already filmed promotional material, was recast within weeks. The replacement again linked to Liang's empire. The coincidences were too sharp, the timing too convenient. Fans flooded online forums with charts mapping Yu's cancelled contracts to Liang's beneficiaries, calling it the profit trail. Headlines screamed, "Who gains when Yu falls? The Liang connection." And yet, amid the growing storm, Liang himself remained silent. His public appearances carefully choreographed, his statements reduced to vague platitudes about respecting the deceased. Behind the silence, police pressure was mounting. Investigators in Chaoyuan district began pulling financial records, cross-checking the sudden transfers of lucrative deals. According to leaks, the data revealed alarming overlaps, contracts negotiated and signed with astonishing speed, sometimes within days of Yu's death. Forensic accountants described the movement of money as too clean, too fast, the kind of precision that suggested advanced preparation rather than coincidence. At the same time, witness testimonies that had once been ignored were being revisited. Neighbors from Yu's apartment building spoke again, this time under the weight of renewed scrutiny. One recalled seeing a black car idling outside the complex for several nights in a row, its tinted windows concealing whoever sat inside. Another swore she had heard a man's voice arguing with Yu on the night of the fall, followed by the crash of glass. A child's account, dismissed at first as imagination, suddenly took on chilling weight. She said she saw a man push someone near the window. The diary and messages that Yu's girlfriend, Xing Fei, revealed only deepened the unease. His words described being followed, watched, and pressured. One entry mentioned meetings with executives that left him unsettled. Writing, "They want me to sign. But I said no. I feel unsafe. Someone powerful is angry. Though you never wrote a name. Fans and analysts alike began drawing lines. And every arrow pointed toward Liang Wenhao. As the pieces accumulated, the question who benefited shifted into something sharper: who planned it? For the first time, the idea of a mastermind no longer felt like a conspiracy theory. Police sources confirmed they were pursuing a suspect with financial and managerial control over contracts linked to Yu's career. While they stopped short of naming him, the description fit Liang like a tailored suit. Outside Chaoyuan Hospital and the Beijing police headquarters, fans gathered in the thousands. Their chants echoed through the city: "Justice for Yu Menglong. Reveal the mastermind." Posters bore Yu's face alongside the question, who profits from his death? The mood was no longer one of mourning alone, it was fury, determination, and a demand for answers. Liang, shielded by wealth and influence, untouchable. His lawyers issued statements of innocence, trying the rumors as slanderous attacks by online mobs. His allies in the industry closed ranks, missing speculation as baseless. Still, the silence of the powerful only fueled suspicion. For every denial, there was a fan digging deeper. A journalist publishing another lead. An insider leaking another whisper. The tension in Beijing grew thick. The air charged with a sense that something monumental was about to break. Police hinted that the investigation was nearing a critical stage, with significant evidence soon to be presented. For Yu's fans, the anticipation was unbearable. For his family, it was a thin thread of hope. And for Liang Wenhao, the spotlight growing hotter by the day. The city of Beijing was buzzing with anticipation. After weeks of speculation, leaks, and mounting public pressure, the Chaoyang District Police confirmed that their investigation had entered a decisive phase. The term high-level suspect had electrified the public imagination, transforming the case from a tragic accident into a potential scandal of corruption, greed, and betrayal. Man in the crosshairs, though unnamed by authorities, already known to everyone, whispering in streets, cafes, and online forums, Liang Wenhao. The moment Liang's name began circulating in connection with Yu Menglong's death, the narrative changed forever. Fans no longer saw the tragedy as random. Journalists no longer dismissed whispers of foul play. Insiders, once fearful of speaking, began to leak fragments of information that, when pieced together, painted a picture far darker than anyone could have imagined. Police investigators reportedly traced a financial trail that led directly to Liang's empire. Forensic accountants uncovered evidence that within 48 hours of Yu Menglong's death, contracts worth tens of millions had been reassigned to actors under Liang's management. One luxury brand deal that Yu had been hesitant to sign was officially inked by a Liang-represented actor less than 3 days after his fall. The speed of the transaction suggested not panic but preparation, as if the replacement had been arranged in advance. The investigation also unearthed troubling irregularities in Yu's professional relationships. Several colleagues confirmed that Yu had been under intense pressure to accept certain roles and contracts tied to Liang's network. One producer recalled a heated argument: Yu didn't want to compromise his image. He said the deal felt wrong. He was scared. I remember him saying, "If I sign this, I lose myself. If I don't sign, I might lose more than that." These words echoed eerily with the diary entries later revealed by Xingfei. In those pages, Yu had written of feeling cornered, watched, and betrayed. He described being followed by unfamiliar men, his phone behaving strangely, and his sense that someone powerful was determined to break his resistance. The public had read those lines with horror. Now, police investigators read them as evidence. Witness testimonies added further weight to the suspicions. Neighbors reported seeing Liang Wenhao himself visiting the apartment complex weeks before Yu's death. One neighbor remembered catching a glimpse of him in the lobby late at night, surrounded by assistants, his presence cloaked in tension. Another insisted that the man fleeing the scene on the night of September 11th, tall and broad-shouldered in a dark coat, bore a resemblance to Liang's personal driver. Still, for all the mounting suspicion, no official charges had been filed. Liang remained free, his public image carefully managed. Lawyers released a statement insisting that he had no involvement in Yu's death and condemning what they called a baseless witch hunt. Yet the denials rang hollow as more evidence emerged. The most explosive revelation came when fragments of CCTV footage, previously dismissed as corrupted, partially restored, The grainy video from a side exit of the Chaoyuan apartment building showed a figure leaving at 10:02 p.m. After Yu's fall, the face was obscured. Figure's posture, height, and gait sparked immediate speculation. Online detectives compared the footage to clips of Liang walking at public events, highlighting uncanny similarities. Hashtags like Liang on tape and Mastermind exposed trended across social media. The backlash was immediate. Fans and activists staged demonstrations outside Liang's corporate offices, holding signs that read, "Blood Money and Justice for You." At Chaoyuan Hospital, where Yu's autopsy had first revealed foul play, mourners turned into protesters, chanting through the night. The case was no longer just about one actor's death, it had become a referendum on power, corruption. Just in China's entertainment industry, international media seized on the story. CNN aired a segment titled "From Stardom to Scandal: The Murder of Yu Menglong." The BBC ran features on the cultural fallout, asking whether systemic corruption had claimed yet another victim. South Korean and Japanese outlets compared the case to their own entertainment scandals, warning of the dangers of unchecked power. Suddenly, Yu Menglong's death was not just a national tragedy, it was a global headline. Inside Beijing, the political implications grew thornier by the day. Liang Wenhao was not just an entertainment mogul, he was connected. His empire spanned media companies, advertising agencies, investment firms. His ties to influential officials gave him a shield that most believed was impenetrable. For police to identify him as a suspect suggested not only boldness but also the possibility of higher-level support within the government, perhaps from factions eager to see Liang fall. For Yu's family, the developments brought bittersweet vindication. His mother, once drowned in grief, now stood before reporters with fire in her eyes. "My son told us he was afraid," she said. "He told us he was being threatened. No one listened. Now, the world must listen." Her words struck deep, amplifying the urgency of the investigation and the fury of the fans. As the police probe widened, more damning details leaked. Whistleblower claimed that Yu had been preparing to meet with a journalist in Beijing's central business district the week he died, carrying files that implicated Liang's company in financial misconduct. If true, Yu's death may have been more than a crime of opportunity, it may have been an execution designed to silence him. The suggestion of conspiracy only fueled public outrage. Online forums buzzed with theories, naming accomplices and speculating about a broader network of corruption. Activists began publishing profit maps, diagrams tracing how Yu's cancelled projects flowed into Liang's empire. The evidence, though circumstantial, compelling enough to spark fury in millions. For Liang, the walls were closing in. Each public appearance was met with jeers. His social media accounts flooded with demands for accountability. Business partners began to distance themselves, canceling deals and scrubbing references to his name. Once seen as untouchable was now painted as the villain in a real-life tragedy. And yet, for all the fury, justice remained elusive. Police spoke of ongoing investigation and sensitive evidence. But weeks passed without an arrest. Fans feared the case would be buried under pressure. Another scandal silenced in the shadows of power. The haunting possibility that Yu Menglong's death might go unpunished loomed like a curse. Still, the evidence was undeniable. Yu's diary had warned of betrayal. His messages had cried out for help. His neighbors had heard the struggle. The contracts and money had shifted with suspicious speed. The footage showed a man leaving the scene. Every thread wove toward the same name, Liang Wenhao. As the sun set on another day of protests, one banner fluttered above the crowd outside the Chaoyuan police headquarters. He knew. He wrote it. "Now prove it." It was a demand. Not just for justice for Yu Menglong, for truth in an industry built on illusions. The investigation may yet reveal its final card. The police may yet move from suspicion to indictment. Until that moment arrives, the world waits. By the same question Yu himself seemed to anticipate in his final words, if he knew he would be killed, then who silenced him? And who gained when he fell?